Any vaccine, we'll take any at this point, but it is the key to economic recovery here and overseas.
Yeah, and I think one of the interesting things is, the markets have really responded well, first to the Pfizer 90% effective rate, and then the 95% effective rate from Moderna. I think all these drug companies are going to compete on their level of effectiveness, but it's all really good news. And the interesting thing is this, that the quicker we have a vaccine in place, the big question becomes, will the Reserve Bank Governor, Dr. Phil Lowe, have to break his promise that interest rates, or the cash rate, will stay at 0.1% for 3 years? Now, that's what people think he said, and I'm not a lawyer, so I haven't analysed every word he said on this subject, but I can tell you as an economist, if the vaccine comes in faster than we expect, and the economic boom in 2021 is faster than we expect, he's going to have to break his promise, if it was a promise. Like, I do hark back to that wonderful TV series Seinfeld, where George Costanza said, "It's not a lie if you believe it." And I think when he said it, he certainly believed it, because the vaccine news wasn't as strong as it is now. The outlook was looking, scarier rather than more positive. So, but as an economist and as a Reserve Bank Governor, if inflation starts to pick up because we're starting to boom in the second half of 2021, he's really going to have to back away from that 3-year promise.
Yeah, look, I think at one stage he also strongly suggested that he wouldn't move beyond 0.25% in terms of the official cash rate either, but here we are at 0.1. Peter, I know you've been looking very closely at the New South Wales budget. I mean, there's so many things to talk about in this budget, but stamp duty is one of them. Dominic Perrottet has had this on his agenda for quite some time. He wants to eventually get rid of stamp duty, but he's talking about an opt-in approach until that can be done. What do you think of it? And what do you think of him moving alone without the other states following suit?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that we've got to say the ACT has moved ahead of everybody else. They've been doing something a little bit different than this, but they've been phasing down stamp duty and actually building up rates at the same time. And it's really worked. A Victorian University study actually showed it's actually been a very positive fillip to the real estate sector in the ACT. And you've got to remember that New South Wales and Victoria get 25% of their tax revenue from stamp duty. Yeah. Now, it's fantastic when you're in a boom, Laura, but when you go into a downturn, the governments actually lack money. So it's a real economist approach to try and migrate people off stamp duty. And in New South Wales, they pay about $26,000 on every transaction, and it's about 200,000 transactions a year. So you can see why the Treasurer would want it. But a lot of other people may well be saying, well, if interest rates so low, this stamp duty slug, which we tend to roll into our mortgage, is really sufferable at the moment. So it's going to be an interesting one. I think other states will want to follow suit, because all treasurers hate the way that their money goes up and down with the economic cycle.